and it's This Week in Disney. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I really enjoyed last week getting everyone's comments, and also, you know, we got to put up a lot of other videos, and hope you guys check those out of us in the parks, and we have plans for lots more in the future. But right now, I'm so excited for This Week in Disney, and I hope you're enjoying it. And for this week, we're gonna start off talking about a very special lady, and her story is just so cool to me, and I hope you enjoy learning about her as much as I've enjoyed knowing, you know, her story. But her name was Bianca Majolie, and she was born on September 13th, which is actually today. Sometimes the people we talk about will be later in the week, but she was born on the 13th of September. She was actually born in Rome, Italy, and she is an Italian-born American story artist. She's a concept artist and a writer, and in 1935, she was the first woman to become a storyboard artist for the Walt Disney Productions. And how all that happened is really interesting. We have to go back all the way to when she came to America. So that's kind of a cool story because, you know, she didn't come over as a child. She actually came in high school age. She came to the U.S. as an exchange student and attended McKinley High School in Chicago. And we know someone else who attended McKinley High School, and that would be Walt Disney. Interestingly enough, they did not know each other well in high school, so they never crossed paths until Walt had actually dropped out, and he came to high school right before he, you know, went to war. So he was in his uniform as a GI, and she had just graduated her midterm and had her grad book, and so she asked him, you know, if he would sign it, and he drew pictures in it for her. So they had this interaction and meeting all the way back in high school. Really interesting. So after high school, she actually studied at the Art Institute of Chicago, which, you know, guys, we lived in Chicago, so this is really exciting to me, thinking of, you know, this woman studying at the Art Institute in the 1930s, or probably before that. And then she also ended up going to the Leonardo da Vinci School of Art in New York. And then after that, she was able to work as a freelance artist. That got her traveling all around the world. She got to go to Florence and Paris, and after her travels, she actually settled down as an art director and brochure designer for JCPenney Company. Really interesting. Well, times were crazy, the Depression, everything. She needed to change her work, and she decided to write a letter to her old friend Walt Disney. So she did write that letter, and she was in hopes of promoting some of her work to him. She wanted to show her work to him, and it took some time. It actually took about a year before they actually met, but she continued corresponding through, though nothing really was coming. She was actually writing comic strips at that time, and things weren't coming together with that. And so Walt decided to actually meet with her, like I said, a year later. And of course, where did they meet? They met at Tam O'Shanter's, and if you don't know, that was the restaurant that all the Disney people went over to eat all the time, especially Walt. He loved it. It was like their commissary. They were there all the time. If you have the opportunity to go see it, you gotta check out this restaurant, eat the food. You can see drawings on tables. It's so cool. Drawings from, you know, Disney animators on tables there, at least one. I haven't been there, I want to go, but if you guys have gone, tell me about it in the comments, because I think it's cool. But all that stuff, you know, there's so many cool places history-wise to go see out in California. But anyway, they met at Tam O'Shanter. She showed him her portfolio, and he actually hired her right on the spot. He was super impressed as, like I said, a storyboard artist, the first woman to be a storyboard artist. So very exciting. And so she actually wrote a 13-page script on several silly symphonies. But this first one was The Romance of a Baby Elephant, which later became Elmer Elephant, so it was produced. You guys can go check it out. It was actually debuted March 28th, 1936, so go watch it so you can get an idea of her storytelling. The story featured this young bullied elephant and was inspired by Majolie's struggle to fit in as the only female in the story department. So I don't know, I kind of, just reading about her, learning about her, I think she had a strong Italian personality and didn't mind, you know, letting you know how she felt. I get that sense. I may be wrong, but I'm kind of getting it from what I've read about her. So then she worked on several silly symphonies, such as Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the Japanese Symphony, and Ballet de Fleurs. Those did not get, you know, produced at the time, but she also, they were never completed. And then she also worked on Wink 'Em, Blink and a Nod and the Woodland Café. You can check those two out. They were completed. You know, they created so much work at the Disney Studios. A lot wasn't used, and it just happened. So, you know, they kept trying to produce the thing that would be big, and so those three just didn't get done. So really interesting too, she's able to do help and aid Walt in other ways. So she actually translated Carlo Collodi's novel Pinocchio and into English, and while she was translating, she actually gave Walt ideas on how to make the story better. So she really had a voice in Pinocchio and how that story went for the film. So you can think of her as well in the story of Pinocchio. I think that's really cool. You know, and then she also worked on the film Bambi, and so she was helping with the pictorial descriptions and also making it more humorous as well, with as the animals were dealing with everything in the film and etc. So she had a hand in Bambi, and that's a phenomenal film as well. So near the end of her career with Disney, Majolie created story sketches for Peter Pan. So she was expanding her talents and started working on story sketches. She also did paintings for Fantasia. So this is a very talented woman, I believe, and she was able to not only write incredibly, but she had that artistic talent also. She also created paintings for the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies and worked on the films Flower Dancers and The Dancing Mushrooms. So when you're watching that again, if you remember, the mushrooms and the flower dancers would be examples of her art. So I think that's also kind of cool. You know, recently they put out the Alice in Wonderland Mary Blair line and took pieces of what she did for the film and have turned it into like pillows and spoons. It's really, really cool. And I don't know what the future holds. It would be cool to see other animators and artists for like them doing lines of their work. I know they're not as well known as Mary Blair, but maybe in the future people will, you know, gain more knowledge of these early talents at Disney, and we'll get, you know, I don't know, Dancing Mushroom pillow that Bianca Majolie did. That would be really cool. At least to me, I would want that pillow. So then in the 1940, she actually went on an extended vacation from Disney, and when she came back, her position had been filled. I don't know, I couldn't find a lot of information about why that happened or why she left, but she actually did continue to work for Disney, just more or less as a freelance artist. She turned her attention to ceramics for the latter part of her life, which was her preferred medium. So I am so impressed with this this lady. She just seems like a fun, highly talented woman who, you know, had that first like interaction with Walt Disney when he was really young, when they were both in high school, and you know, ended up working for the Disney company, and a pioneering woman as well with incredible talent. So I hope you go check out some of those cartoons that I mentioned so you can get an idea of her story writing, and you know, like I said, just maybe pay attention to some of her, you know, some of those cartoons for her art and such that I mentioned. So now it's time for our next segment of This Week in Disney, where we talk about all the things going on this week. Well, not everything, of course. There's so much to talk about, but I picked some cool things that you could celebrate, cool facts that, you know, I've enjoyed learning and I want to make sure everybody knows about, and some other interesting stuff. And so we'll be starting off, of course, with today, September 13th, and back in 2005, Pooh's Heffalump Halloween, which is an all-new original movie, is released directly to DVD. So I mentioned this one because Halloween time's coming, and I don't know about you guys, but I like to put on like all the Halloween stuff, like from Disney. So sometimes, I mean, when my kids were growing up, I always put on the little kid Halloween stuff for parties we did or whatever we were doing when they were little and so forth. But it's just I love Pooh Bear, and a Halloween version of Pooh and Friends I think is adorable. So anyway, for those of you who are younger or have kids, this is a cool DVD. If you don't know about it, you could get for the Halloween season. So then it's September 14th, back in 1964. This is so amazing, and we did do a This Day in Disney, which was our previous show. We did do a whole segment on this, and it was that at the White House, U.S. President Johnson presented Walt Disney with a Medal of Freedom, which is the nation's highest honor. So really cool. You can go watch This Day in Disney where I talk more about that, but it's just incredible that he received a Medal of Freedom. Then in 1985, on September 14th, this is so cute, Disney's very first Saturday morning animated television show, Disney's Adventure with the Gummy Bears, and also Disney's Wubbles both debut. So I love Disney's Gummy Bears. They're so adorable. I love gummy bears as well. Watching the show makes me a little guilty about eating gummy bears, but I love them both. And it's a cute show, but I didn't know and learned, you know, that Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears is the first animated production by Walt Disney Animation Television. So that's so cool. So you can celebrate Disney's Gummy Bears. It is on Disney Plus. I'm not sure, I forgot to check if the Wuzzles is on Disney Plus. Maybe you guys know and could tell me in the comments if you guys watch those cartoons. You know, a lot of you guys are, you know, grown-ups or adults, but I know we have some people who watch for kids, but as adults, do you guys still watch these cartoons? I think it's just really fun to put them on in the background sometimes when I'm folding laundry or whatever. It's just nice. It makes me feel like I'm a kid again. So I don't know, do you guys like that? tell me about it, or do you think it's annoying? I can understand that too. And so moving on to September 15th, oh my goodness, you have to go watch this Disney short. 1944 Goofy short, How to Play Football, is released. You know this is hilarious. You know it's going to be funny and have that awesome narration. So go check out and watch on September 15th or this week, How to Play Football. It's a really cute one, and football season's coming, so, or no, it's already started basically, so good time to watch it. And then on September 16th, we also talked about this day in Disney back in 1933, Disney's 39th Silly Symphony cartoon, The Pied Piper, is released. I find this really interesting, this particular version of the Pied Piper, the way that it's told and what happens with the children. There's just, they really took a lot of liberty with the story. So if you haven't seen the Pied Piper, go check this one out, this Silly Symphony, because it's different than you expect. I really love the ending. So if you watch it, comment below so we can talk about the ending, because I think it's really neat. And just everything that happens, you can have a whole long conversation about it for sure. And then this is really, I don't know, guys. I feel like so many mixed emotions about everything that's going on with the Disney parks and what's there, what's not, and why. But back in 1984, the restaurant Marrakesh opens in the Morocco Pavilion at Epcot. And we were there at Epcot. As some of you guys you know, we posted to Instagram and stuff. We were just recently there, and I walked by this and the restaurant Marrakesh is another seating area for the Food and Wine Festival. So I want to know what you guys think. I would really like this restaurant to come back. I highly regret not going to it more. It's tucked so far back in Morocco, but it's such a cool experience. And you know, in the evenings and stuff, like not the lunch meal but the later meal, so you could go to lunch and not necessarily have this, but in the later meal they had belly dancers. It was a truly cool experience, and you felt like you were in Morocco. The food was incredible. I want to eat that food again. And it just hasn't come back, and so I'm really excited and hopeful that it will. But it is a seating area. Maybe that means that they do have plans to open it again. Of course, it may be different. You know, we'll see, but I am hopeful. What do you guys think? I'm love that restaurant. Did you guys get to try it? And do you like, you know, Moroccan style food? I know we do over here. So moving on to September 17th. This is really cool because Sterling Holloway, he is going to be the future voice of Winnie the Pooh. He signs his first contract with the Walt Disney Company, and this will ensure that he will have star status on the film. Now this was unlike, you know, a lot of the voices back then didn't actually, of his contemporaries, did not get credit on the films. And so that's why sometimes it's confusing going back in history and figuring out who did what and why, because you know, like I said, they didn't get credit on films and it's hard to prove, you know, stuff. So I don't know why, but I think it's cool these days that, you know, you sit for the credits to see like some kind of cool you know, Marvel reveal or whatever. And sometimes when I'm sitting there, I'm just like, wow, you know, so many people are mentioned. And I think it's just this history of learning that you need to give people credit. You know, even the littlest guy is doing such a good work for the film, and it couldn't happen without them. So anyway, Sterling Holloway though was able to get that star status before, and that's the voice of Winnie the Pooh, like I said. And then September 18th, 1987, the start of something awesome. Back, like I said, in 1987, DuckTales, an animated television series produced by Walt Disney, premieres, and it's based on the Uncle Scrooge comic books, if you ever want to check those out. So we love DuckTales. We love watching this version and all the newer versions. You guys have a DuckTales party today. I think today would be a great day. And September actually 18th falls on a Saturday, so if you don't have plans this week for Saturday, you guys could watch DuckTales all day, have some good food, and party. Why not? It's a good season for it, right, with Halloween around the corner. But yeah, really cool. And then also we are super, Brad and Miles, we're all hopeful that the DuckTales Around the World experience will come to Epcot, because you know, they've announced that, but it hasn't happened yet. And so Miles, sometimes they look for, you know, is it there yet? And lastly, on September 19th, 1989, the Library of Congress actually selects Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs for the National Film Registry. So we talked about this before on This Day in Disney and some of the films that have been in there. And, you know, selected by the Library of Congress, Disney films, there's quite a few of them, actually, which I think makes quite a lot of sense. But in 89, it was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and you know, they pick films that are culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. So of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs fits that bill, and it's so important because really it was the very first animated feature film. So, you know, we're so grateful to have it. I love it so much, and it's an incredible film, and it's held up really, really well. So we put it on quite often. I think Halloween time is a good time of year to watch it again, and especially with, you know, the apple, and you know, we like to eat caramel apple. There's just so many things that kind of nod to Halloween. You know, the witch changing costumes and things like that. So it's a lot of fun to watch this time of year. So go watch it this week or soon for sure, and commemorate Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But that's it for this week in Disney. Thank you guys for, you know, watching the show and commenting and supporting, you know, Disney history and all the things that have happened. And I hope you enjoy the new show. Please tell me what you think in the comments, and I can't wait to hear from you.